Hi everyone, hope you all are doing really well. So this video about API testing and interview guide about API testing. So it will be the part 1. Maybe the next video will be on part 2 as well. But I think the slide is quite big, so I thought, but pay attention on this slide and also the explanations of mine. So that will be really helpful to you to understand about what APIs is. So I think in every interviews or now if you're like APIs is very must. Okay, if you're going for automation also, so I think how the UI automation and the API automation, now it is a equal weightage. So you need API automation, so you need to learn API automation, but firstly you should know about API automation, and everything is around API right now. So small or big APIs, but it's around API only. So you should be understanding how API works, and you should be able to visualize and the real-time examples of APIs. But how you can do it is just that first you should be knowing about the basics of APIs, and then we can build upon the new knowledge on that how exactly it is coming and what is offerings and everything, what is the capabilities of APIs. We can discuss over that. So before we start, please subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't, and if you already, thumbs up to you guys, thank you so much. And please help me to reach 10k. So at least that milestone, I'll deserve that. My content is really great, so I think and it will help you guys as well, so help me also to grow, and that's really motivate me. A single like of yours is really motivating me, guys, and pushing me towards, even if I'm tired throughout the office, but I just wanted to prepare a video because I know a lot of people like it, and that like really motivates me. It just give me a sense of motivation from your end. I don't expect anything but just a like or maybe a comment. I think, yeah, that's all from that's completely motivates me. Okay, thank you guys. I know I have taken a lot of time. Let's quicken dig into the video. So what is APIs? APIs stand for application programming interface. They are basically a collections of functions and the procedures which allow us to communicate to applications or the library. So I think when you present it in a when you say about why we are coming up with a slide format, is just that we want you to have a clear definition. So if you go into the Google, that will waste your time, like around you nearly need 15 minutes of a time to understand which definitions is useful for you. So here we filter out things to you, and then this is really needed to understand. You can make it in your words and with this also, but first you need to understand it. So if you understand it, you can make it, but it's better if you have some standard definitions, or if you use the terms and technology terms or maybe terminologies which is being used in terms of API, so that interview might understand that you have worked on. So the purpose of this one is also that you should be knowing the terminologies used while working. So for example, it's like a connector, as you've seen in the pictures. All data connects to all our organizations through an API. We have if you see here, there's a connector. So all are, like for example, your organization, there's a connector which is called an API. Customer, supplier, partners and apps are connecting through an API. So if you see these black lines which is connected to customer, supplier, partners and apps, these lines is nothing but an APIs. Okay. Okay. We also have a front-end HTML, CSS, and we have a HTML. This is a front-end and the back-end database. Okay, so like front-end basically it will be coded into HTML, right? HTML format, and then your SQL. So like some of that data is coming from the database and it's published into your front end in your front end application, so that traverse of data is through APIs. So in the APIs, maybe if you're creating some of the account or something, that we're gonna discuss this later. We'll explain this diagram maybe just for now. It is, you can understand it. Like in the front end, any data is coming in through the from the database, and from that database, how it is connected, these two are connected with the APIs only. The APIs is an interface between the software programs or services. So okay, example here, waiter act as an API. Like you understand that's the reason we have come up with a lot of examples here. So client, whatever clients want, what waiter do is he'll write the order and he will traverse to the chef and tell them. When chef prepare a dish, he will traverse and give it to the client. So what client wants, APIs takes the information and give it to the server, and take the information from the server and give it back to the client. For example, if you search something, right, so it is taking it from you, from the APIs, it is goes to server and take from the server and give it to you. So that's how API works. So here in the form of waiter act as an APIs. Then type of APIs we also have SOAP, RPC, REST, and Web API. We only concerns about Web APIs and Simple Object Access Protocol. SOAP is also a good API that you should learn about more on SOAP. What is the advantage of using SOAP? Remote Procedural Call, which is RPC, and represent REST. REST is mainly used, which is you should be also knowing the full form of REST is representational state transfer. I don't know why I'm slippering throughout the day. I don't know what happens, but yeah. So these are the types of APIs, and this is very important slide. You should be knowing what are types of APIs and why, what benefits one API gives over other. That is also, and SOAP is always used for secured APIs, just for the information. I'll just say, if you really wanted to use a secure thing, you will be using SOAP. I don't know. Okay, what is API testing? Now, in terms of, as our channel is always focused about testing. So when we talk about API testing is the testing that APIs and its integrations with the services. It is one of the most challenging type of testing. If you miss a certain cases in API testing, that can cause a very big problem in productions after full integration. It will hard to debug in production environment. In this definition guide, we are basically discussing about the REST API testing. We need to test the REST APIs for the validations, error codes, and load testing. So if we are looking out for some sessions into API testing, you can guys connect with me, connect with my team. I think will help you out in understanding how you can validate APIs. And maybe in the if I'll get around 100 likes in this video, I'll gonna tell you how you're gonna validate everything from A to Z about APIs, that how you do it in a real time. We'll showing you everything, that how you can get those codes in your real time. So maybe in my part 2 I'll definitely make it. I'll make it. It's not about your 100 likes or comments, but yeah, I'm expecting at least one video should have 100 likes. I think if 100 people are watching it, I request you, please give a like to this video. What is REST API? As REST is an acronym for, I don't know why I'm asking like, I never asked for anything, but I don't know, I just crave for it right now. As REST is an acronym, jokes apart guys, okay. It's just an informational or guidance video. I don't expect anything from anyone, but yeah, if you like it, I feel good. As a REST is an acronym for representational state transfer, statelessness is a key. An API can be REST if it is follow the below constraint. The REST architectural slide describes 6 constraints. These constraints put on architecture were initially communicating by Roy Fielding in his doctoral dissertation and defines the basis of RESTful style. We'll understand more about that. It's just in definition. A uniform stateless interface, stateless, cacheable, client server, layered system, code on demand. I think these 6 types you should be knowing, and even a developer should be knowing all those things. Difference between REST APIs versus SOAP API. And I think I should tell you what is uniform interface and everything. I think that will really help you guys. Okay, let's go to the previous slide. I think the explanation, we didn't want to confuse people because this is something which is very new and deep diving. So uniform interface constraint defines the interface between clients and server. In other terms, first constraint of the REST API state that client and server has to communicate and agree to certain rules based on resources. They should communicate with same resource like JSON, XML, HTML, or text with the proper encoding like UTF-8 extra. Okay. Another point, they should communicate with the self-descriptive messages. Example, use the same MIME types. Okay. Stateless. APIs in REST are stateless, and clients and server doesn't worry about the state of the request or response. Cacheable. According to WWW, like World Wide Web, clients can cache the responses. Responses should therefore implicitly or explicitly define themselves as cacheable. It's up to server when they want the cache to expire, etc. Client server. Client and server are two different entity. It means that that server and client may also be replaced and developed independently as long as the interface is not altered. Sorry, layered system, it means that the between client and the server there can be a number of layer system, it does not matter. Then code on demand, server can store the code or logic to themselves and transfer it whenever needed, rather client side logic. If API fulfill all these constraints, then we can call it REST APIs. Okay. Difference between REST APIs versus SOAP API. I think this is very important interview question. So since our channel is always targeting it to the interview questions, so we mainly focusing on interview questions. So some of the informational topics I try to explain it, but I rather not putting it into the slide. I just don't want to have a making the slide big. But I thought of explaining every terms which is used here so that you'll understand what I'm trying to say. If somebody need that information, they can definitely hop and stop the video and then listen it to me what I'm saying it. So we have already discussed about REST API. Let's now learn about what is SOAP API. SOAP is Simple Object Access Protocol. Is a messaging protocol that allows programs that run on disparate operating systems or services like front end or back end to communicate using HTTP protocol, and is extensible markable language. Then protocol layering, how it is in REST or SOAP. And also you should be knowing that who uses REST. I think Twitter API, LinkedIn API, Slack API, and many more. I think who uses REST, you should be knowing it. Okay. Okay. SOAP uses WSDL is an XML format for describing network services as set of endpoints operating on messages containing either document oriented or procedure oriented information. Okay, so REST uses like POS, RSS, JSON, and it will be having HTTP get, post, put, delete, and resource URI, endpoint URI, application. So you know the URI, right? For example, if I'll be writing www.google and then this is the URL. Okay, www, but I have to search images. So if / images, so images will be my URI. Okay. Okay, now enough of most of background. Let's come to the time. What to test in API testing. So validate the keys with the minimum and the maximum range of an APIs. Example, maximum and the minimum length. Have a test case to do XML, JSON schema validations. I think schema validations is very important in APIs. Keys verification. If we have JSON, XML, APIs, we should verify if that all the keys are coming. Because it works on JSON works on key and value, so all the keys should be coming in your responses. Verify that how the API's error codes handled, so how your error codes has been handled. So if you are putting some wrong informations in the input, it should be giving 400 bad requests. For example, if you are giving which is for example, I'm putting my username in some of the website and that is not available, right? So it should be 404 not found. So, and if it is something like internet shutdown in between, and then you will be getting 500 internal server error. I think that kind of error you should be giving, you should be getting. And then if it is something is unauthorized, so it should be 401. So you should be knowing what all codes said. So if you worked on, you'll definitely know all those things. I am like keep on working on API testing, so I just know all those things. So yeah, if you're working, definitely you will be learning all those things, and then you have to learn the codes at least which code represent what, and why you should perform the API testing. So many of the services that we use every day rely on hundreds of different interconnected APIs. If any one of them fails, then the service will not work. Right now, internet uses millions of APIs and they should be tested thoroughly. Developers make mistake, they create a buggy APIs. Validations of API is very important, which are going live to productions. So this image shows the architectural of an applications, and notice that API testing is an important part now. Okay, so this is how it is, like business logic. We have a data storage, we have a API test, user interface API, and the unit test. So I think this is kind of architectural representation just for the show purpose. Now we're gonna understand about the HTTP fundamental, HTTP request, HTTP response. So HTTP request which goes to server. HTTP is an application layer protocol designed with the framework of the Internet Protocol Suite. Let's more learn about the HTTP. I'll tell you. There's a client which perform a request. Okay. There's a client which perform the request resource, which can be HTML page, file extra from the server, and the server perform the response to the client back using the same protocol known as HTTP. So HTTP is a stateless protocol. In other words, the current request does not know what has been done in the previous request. So it is like stateless. Now, you must heard about the cookie, and the authorization is being done by the cookie or the secure token. So basically it's for the authorization. Cookies are usually small text file given ID tags that are stored on your computer, browsers, directory, or program data folders. Get spec.html, HTTP 1.1, host, for example, www.example.org. Cookie theme equals to live, session token equals to session token. You will get some session tokens, you will get some cookie to work with. So it will be your session ID, it will generate. Record the user browsing activities, which page were visited in the past, contain the name of the domain and lifetime. So that kind of cookies are there, right? There are different kind of cookies, so you have to learn more about it, but just give you the cookies are also the part of API. So what is authentication? Authentication is a process of presenting your credentials like username, password, or another secret key to the system, and the system to validate your credentials or you. In the API's terms, authentication is used to protect the content over web. Mean only a valid user with valid credentials can access the API's endpoints. Endpoints is also terminologies. These credentials tell the system, endpoints is nothing but your URL with URI. These credentials tells the system about who you are, which enables the system to ensure and confirms the user identity. Here the system can be anything. It can be computer, phone, bank, or any physical office or premises. Basic authentication is the string is coded with the base64 curl header authorization or like that. Digest authentication is performed by transmitting the data password is in an encrypted form. OAuth authentication generally happens. OAuth different kind of like when you click something, log in from the Google, you will be saying OAuth 2.2. Authentication is happening. Protocol that allows you to approve in one application interacting with another on behalf without giving away your password. So for example, sometimes you don't want to write the login things and everything. You just log in through Google Gmail ID. So how you do it? You do it through OAuth authorization. So you are like you can have some details from this, like your account details and everything. It should be given like you are a valid users and what is your user ID. Everything is taken it from the Google account or Gmail account, and then it will allow you to log in with OAuth authentication. HTTP method explain. Get, head, put, post, delete, trace, connect. Get is request to read a web page. Head request to read a web page headers. Request to store a web page. Post. Put or post. Difference between put or post. Put can be used to create an account. Yes, put can be used to create an account. But the only thing is, and put is used for update. So for example, for the terminologies, like everyone to understand it, for the standards, they have two things, put or post. So, so if I'll be putting put, so that other person understand that I have updated it. When I put post, other person understand that I've created the new one. So that is the reason for the terminologies we'll be using. But put can also be able to create an account. Request to store a web page, append to name resource, delete, remove the web page, trace, echo the incoming request, connect to reserve the future use, options, querying certain options. We'll understand about more in GET request. Retrieve all resources in a collection and can cached. Get requests remain in the browser history and bookmarked. Get requests should never be used when dealing with sensitive data and have a length restrictions. I think you can see here this slide and you can understand about it. Get requests should be used only to retrieve data. Okay. Post. Create a new resource in a collection. I think this is just giving you the example here. Post requests are never cached, do not remain in the browser history. Post requests cannot be bookmarked. Post requests have no restrictions on data and length. Okay, you can see that you will be sending user agent. This is the one, content application raw, like this. Put request, puts a file or resource at a specific URI. Put replaces that file or resource. Put responses are not cacheable. Update a resource. Basically, it is used to update a resource. And patch, update a partial resource when you only need to update one field of the resource. Delete and options, delete resource, options written available as HTTP methods and other options. Head, only for header information. Trace, returns the traces of the request. Thank you guys. I think we completed this video. I was like continuously speaking for 20 more slides. And yeah, thank you for watching it, and all the best guys. Do prepare well because this is the new season is coming out, and if you are seeing the market is not that great, but this time I think during this time the openings are really well. And if you wanted to try, if you wanted to looking out for some options in switching, do learn, do everything and switch in this first quarter itself, and I think you'll get a great opportunities during this time. Later we don't know, but I think this is the great time to get into for the interviews. Don't wait for another 2-3 months for the preparation or giving interviews. Start giving interviews right away. And because in the quarter first there are a lot of opportunities, so utilize this time as much as you can. So till I think June or July you will get a hell lot of opportunities. Even if you're starting it today, do revision of the topics, do it giving interviews side by side. Take February, March, prepare it, and then April is the very peak time. Try giving interviews in April, May, June. April, May is a great time for the opportunities. So just try hard and to get the job thing. And I think I wish you all the best for this preparation and for the job. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe my channel, guys. Okay, bye bye.